Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Special thank you to our sponsors, the Gillette Home team of Keller Williams Midwillamette. For all your real estate needs, go to teamgillette.com. And thank you to our new sponsor, Joseph Gonzalez and In the Game Group. For more information, go to joseph@inthegamegroup.com.
And this is an experience like you've never had before. Yes, today we've got Dr. Nupi Arora as our guest host here on The Experience because Russ is off with his family. And every time Russ is gone and I'm the only host, I always do something different. This time, it's a little bit of drama in the music. Yeah, there we go. Welcome, Dr. Nupi Arora.
Scott. Thank you so much, Scott. I loved that. You know I love my drum beats and the jingle jangles. It's amazing.
So when Russ was gone the first time, we did this.
I love Kermit. I really do. That always makes me giggle, actually.
That's right. Yeah.
Good morning, Scott. Good morning.
There's some new features. And so I said, you know what? I've got to be able to do something a little different.
I like.
Where we go? Where's our music? Where's it? There it is. Yeah.
I love it.
Just, why not? Because sometimes you do things because you can. And that's one of the things. But everyone knows you, but not everybody knows you. So
I'm sure everybody does not know me. So
go ahead
I will
and
introduce myself. And yes, so I'm Dr. Nupi, the glitter practitioner. I'm a GP family physician in the UK. I'm also an avidly keen live streamer, hosty person and guest. I love doing this. I'm a spiritual and transformation life coach as well. And nothing lights me up more than connecting with people and empowering them to really understand their whole self health needs from a mind, body and soul perspective. And that's really how I show my clients and my patients how to come back in alignment with these needs and keep them replenished. So that is the core foundation of health and well-being. You marry that with the science of medicine, transformations happen all over the place, and it's just beautiful. And I have my own glitter practitioner language. What else can I tell you about myself? I love life. I love life, yes, and I love hanging out with you guys. Absolutely.
There was a great addition or version of the Christmas Carol, the movie. And I think that's one of the songs is I Love Life.
Is it
At
really?
the end. So
I love that.
Yeah. We'll have to Next time Russ is gone, I'll find that song and load it
Yeah.
up in.
Yeah.
But hey, I am so glad to be able to be doing the experience with you today. Thank you for jumping in,
No
and
problem.
we're grateful that Russ is able to get some time away with his family. We know
Yes.
that people around the
Yes.
world, literally around the world, have been praying for Russ and his wife and family as he's been going through his cancer journey. So a little bit of time away, absolutely
Yes.
perfect. And I know it's something the doctor would prescribe. So
Absolutely. I would 100% say so. And he's been so good, actually. He's been really, connecting with everybody still and keeping himself happy and positive and really leaning into people around him. So well done, Russ, for
I
listening.
love it. I love
I
it.
know
love it.
you've got Leah and your beautiful daughter constantly on your back, plus me, your personal glitter practitioner. So yeah, no, you're doing brilliantly, and I'm glad he's gone away as well. I get to hang out with you anyway. It's great.
Well, this is it's just a privilege. But we also have a guest today, and that
Yes.
is Stephen Hodges. And so, without any more adoing, let's bring Stephen in.
Welcome.
The best introduction music I've had in a while. My goodness. How does that happen,
Got
Doctor?
to get the jingle jangles going. That's how I introduce my guests when I'm on my show. And I thought, oh, Russ isn't here. I can do what I want, basically.
There we go.
I didn't do my gosh. I should have done my stretches before coming to this podcast this morning.
I
Goodness,
tell you.
get a little bit of that. Yeah, we're going to be having too much fun today.
Well,
Yep.
So, Stephen, we have been blessed by working together as volunteers at Young Entrepreneurs Business Week, which is business camp for high school students. It has been renamed and relaunched, but you and I met when we were both advising high school students and got to hang out together. And that was the beginning of a great friendship and some great working stuff that we've done, some great projects. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? You're involved in so many great things. In the Instagram Live right before this, I mentioned that you're instructing at Oregon State University, that you have your own company that does quite a bit of work, and a nonprofit organization, and left it as a cliffhanger. So why don't you go ahead and fill in some of those gaps?
Well, I promise that I'm just a regular guy that loves life. Just like I think I'm in really good company here. I like to really get the most out of my days, and I think the most important thing that's really got quickly put onto my plate is that I'm a father. So that the most important things in my life are definitely my faith, being a husband, and then being a father, and that's really been put into alignment because I have, Jeremiah's now 5 months old, which is kind of crazy to think about. And then Noah, he's going to be 3 coming up here. So we went to preschools, like a couple of preschools, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening in my world?
I know it.
And then, gosh, it is so great to be here, though. I've known Scott for years. And then Russ, it's been great to get to know you, especially through stuff with the chamber. Every single time I introduce myself at the Chamber of Commerce in Albany, I say, in the spirit of Russ Hedge, and I steal his answer. Unless, of course, that he's there, then I steal his answer anyways. And I point to him and say, like, thank you for letting me steal your answer. And then Dr. Nupi, very nice to meet you as well. Thank you for being here. Or thank you for having me here with that. Thank you for being here as well. Thank you.
No problem.
I am the CEO of Boson Hub Digital Development. And so we've been doing this for about 12 years now. And I build websites. I build search engine optimization campaigns, a lot of stuff with Google Ads. We've been really refining like the user experience, and then really mating like in-person marketing techniques with digital. So a lot of stuff coming out of COVID, everything was digital. And then people are realizing that, wow, having like the people calling each other on the phone, or maybe even like visiting someone in the house, like the old school marketing techniques. We're trying to marry that together in a lot of ways. I do have Nerds Abroad, which is a nonprofit that we provide technology for other nonprofits because we realize that there's a lot of nonprofits that are really good at their nonprofit stuff, but not necessarily good at technology stuff. So that's actually what's in basically the rest of this office here is a bunch of carcasses of computers, and I build them together and make sure that people and organizations have technology. And then another really exciting thing is that I decided, hey, why don't I start a YouTube channel for all the cool stuff I do with cars to prove to my kids someday that I did cool stuff. And so we just hit our 1,000 mark on YouTube. So that means that I'm a YouTube partner. So I'm an influencer. So there we go. Put out the virtual red carpet, I guess,
Nice.
which is exciting. And I get to do that with my kids. Just 10, 15 minutes at a time, which means these car projects last. I mean, it takes forever, but that's okay. There's no rush on any of that. And then finally, I do teach at Oregon State. I teach 4 classes of the Introduction of Business experience, where my office and my students and the classroom are all in the same building. So I get a lot of really, really good time with my students. I get to know them super well. And I get to advise them. They're halfway through their first year right now, for example, and they're like, I don't really know what I'm doing with my life. Well, I know them really well, and I can tell them, you should really think about studying abroad, or you should go ahead and start that business, or I don't think that relationship's the best right now. And I get to provide a lot of mentorship. And my students are they did 10 weeks of business planning, so they're going to be doing their business. They sell. Last year we grossed $85,000. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to be doing this year. And I mean, they're going to do great, and I'm really excited. That's me.
Wow. I'm seriously impressed. Oh my goodness me.
A lot of
And
cash.
I just want to give you a little shout out too, because there is you had a particular car that got rear-ended, and I want to hear a little bit about the story. And also, I believe this particular vehicle is going to be in a magazine, correct?
Yeah, I accidentally let it slip.
Yeah, so let me lead up a little bit more. So that's going to be in a magazine. But here's the deal, and I love this as a life allegory. And on the experience, I always tell people, we talk about life and interesting stuff and let people do some promotion, but it's really the life and interesting stuff. And so you have this vehicle, it got rear-ended, and here is a great analogy for life, because technically the vehicle was totaled, and yet you didn't let that stop you from moving forward. So tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah, my wife was 8 months pregnant. This was my race car. So it's the car that I took to the track, and it was all prepped in really, really nice shape. And we were just on a pleasure drive. We got rear-ended, we got shoved into a truck who happened to be the emergency room doctor on the way to his shift, which was, I guess, serendipitous. My wife was 8 months pregnant. She ended up being fine. The baby ended up being fine. He flipped around a couple times, but he ended up being fine. My back is still kind of screwy from it. But I had some really good encouragement from my friends. They're like, why would you get rid of this car? It's really rare. And I mean, I did personally I did want to give up, because I'm like, okay, whatever. But my friends were like, why don't we cut it into a truck? We'll just cut off the stuff that got smashed and whatever. I'm like, okay. It's a fun learning experience. And my son wasn't born yet. He was late. And so we're like, let's cut it up and we'll put this in this thing called the Gambler 500. So then I drove it mostly off-road from here to Central Oregon. And it did great. I hit the snow a couple times. We ended up at the Christmas Valley Dunes. Did not do very well in the sand, but it was totally fine. Then I realized, wait a second, this is actually still a really nice car. So I had a couple people try to make it nice. They didn't make it nice. And then over time, I've been able to make it nice, and it's gotten a lot of attention. And it's really cool that even though there's times that I wanted to give up, I had a lot of people be like, it's okay. You don't have to make this decision now. I mean, it's not like you have lots of money tied up in it. I literally bought it back from the insurance for like, what, $200? And I wanted to give up a couple times. So a lot of really good encouragement. And then I realized, wait a second, I'm an encouragement too. We can go ahead and do this. And it's fun. And I'm really glad that I still have it. It's literally, I'm sitting on top of it because it's downstairs.
And it was so this was by the way, it was a Mercedes sedan that is now a sport utility vehicle with a little pickup bed in the back. So people will want to definitely take a look at that.
It's on, if I could give a shameless plug, we're called the Bad Ideas Garage. You can check us out on Instagram or on YouTube. And I put the conversion story up there probably about a month and a half ago. Just a lot of footage of where it was, and you could see where it started, when it got crashed, and what it looks like now. And I'm very grateful all the teams of doctors that took care of my kid, when he was in utero, and then my wife, and she's such a champ. And she's also having just a really great relationship with my wife. There are times where I want to spend time with cars, but I've been learning a lot better about like, I can't leave things undone. And with car stuff, there's always something to be done. And so she's been a really, really good encouragement to be like, it's okay if you leave this just in the garage, push it in, put the door down. You don't have to look at it. And so she's been great. We went on date night in it. I mean, the accident was 3 years ago. We went on date night in it a couple of weeks ago. And she's like, okay, this is actually nice, Stephen. I'm like, yes.
That's so cute. It's so important.
Yeah,
to have date night.
I have a Porsche that I got down there that was $1,000, and then magically another one showed up that was $300, and we're gonna kind of smush them together and make them nice. I have my first car that I had when I was in high school. I still have it. It's right down there. And my wife was a big part of getting that back. In fact, she's the one that bought it for me as a wedding present because I sold it 11 years later. I got it back. There's another car I had when I was in high school that just before Jeremiah was born that I found behind a barn. It's my neighbor's uncle had it behind his barn, and now it's got a Honda engine in it with a big turbo. So it's things like that these things take forever because it's such a low priority compared to faith, family, and then teaching, and then business, and all of the things. And so that prioritization has been a really good journey to figure out, okay, I know that I want to go do the car stuff, but this is what I have to do, and it'll eventually get done. And trust me, I want to spend days and days and days and days on this Porsche, for example. But I need to keep that in order. And I've had a lot of really good mentorship to figure that out, including from Scott. So Scott has been a huge, huge encourager of, yeah, you can have these fun, exciting ideas and go for it. But at the same time, you have that, that strong and steady experience with your, again, your faith and your family first. Including Scott, I've learned a lot about how you and supporting your kids has been a really cool thing to watch and to glean. So that's been really helpful.
I appreciate that. And Doc, you deal with a lot of people that also live in very high stress worlds, including yourself. Yeah. And what Stephen's talking about with the balance, this is really one of the focuses of what you do.
Yeah, it is actually. And it's what we were saying. It's what I was always talk about. It's that core foundation of when you really understand what your needs are and how to maintain them, that's when everything starts to flow again. And the difficulty is sometimes when I'm passionate. I love what I do as a doctor. I love what I do on LinkedIn. It's to me, it's like playing. It's brilliant fun. But just because it's fun, and it's one of my passions, connecting with people, talking about what I do, helping other people, you have to really be careful that you don't just keep going, because just because it's really good fun, it's also, you need your downtime. And I've had a few wibbles along my journey just in the last year of being on LinkedIn. And just that reminder to, okay, take a step back. You've got to prioritize yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to be exhausted. And, that's not great because your mood will dip and then everything just starts to a little bit unravel. So, yes, it is so important. And I think that's relevant across industries, big time. We're all human beings. We all have those same baseline needs. And it's down to us. Nobody else can do this for us. We can be guided, we can be advised. And when you're ready to listen and tune in, that's when it all starts coming together. And sometimes you have to learn the hard way, which is what happened with me. But no, it's so important to have a good connection group around you, big time.
Yeah. And I love the Stephen, this diversity of interests and activities that you're involved in. So you have, some people might say working at the university, that's your real job. And then of course you have Boson Hub, and then you've got family, and then you've got hobbies. And a big part of it, I think, to be successful in that is patience.
Absolutely. That's been the thing that I need to give grace on myself probably the most upon anything, is because I when I start a project, I have to do the whole thing, and which is hard, because even right here, just before we're on here, my wife's like, "Can you bring up a bottle?" And I had to run back into the house and go do it. And so having the time to be able to sit down and build a website, or sit down and build an app, or whatever it is, that's really hard to be able to do that. And it's hard. I've been retraining my brain to be like, it's okay, here's a stopping point to be able to pick it back up. Or, especially when you're working on car stuff, it never works the first time you want to do it, because I'm not a trained mechanic. It's going to catch on fire. It's going to, whatever it is. And you're just going to let it sit, and you're going to let it sit. I've learned that again from my spouse, Ashley. She's just wonderful about having grace on yourself, and kids will help you have grace on yourself to be able to do that. And having I understand that I want to be working with a nonprofit. I want to be working on this, and you do your best. And the times that you need to stay up late or wake up early, a lot of times you need to really think, really pray about that, because is that going to be putting yourself at risk of not being a good husband, a good father, etc. And so it's a journey. I'm not perfect at it, but having the grace, having the patience, and then realizing, oh, wow, you know what? I didn't need to stay up extra late that night, because that probably wasn't helpful. And the client could have waited. Or, you know what? This awesome project I want to do with Google Ads that I'm working on for Nerds Abroad right now could have waited. Not that I was working on both of those last night, and I'm feeling the repercussions of it at this very moment. But you do your best. You have fun. You be nice to each other, and you make your household, your community, the best that they can be. Which sounds so cheesy, but it's entirely true.
Yeah, I agree. I really do, and I think it's also what you're really. It boils down to prioritizing yourself as well, and it's when I say that a lot. Give yourself grace. Be kind to yourself, just as you would to other people. And when you're fostering that with attention to your needs and intention, that's when you really do start seeing the differences, and you just become more fluid. Things become more in flow.
I struggle with anxiety quite a bit. And it wasn't an issue until probably, I don't know, in my 30s. And when I really started to understand this, I've tried to retrain my brain to be as a superhero strength, because I can look at a situation and realize here's 30 billion different ways that this could go, which is really helpful. And then I've been thinking about how that could be helpful, but all of the ways that it could go wrong, those are the things that I try to limit, and I try to be like, it's probably good to have some contingency plans. But this is particularly helpful when you're working with students, because students are very unpredictable in what they're going to do, which is fun. It's part of the fun that you have when you're lecturing. You're like, oh, that's what you're doing? Oh, that makes no sense, but whatever. And having that understanding of anxiety, a lot of students are working with anxiety. That's exactly what we're doing. Be like, give yourself grace. If your brain works this way and you need a little bit more time, wake up a little bit more early. Spend 5 minutes in the car before you get into class, just centering yourself or praying or whatever you have to do. And those are the types of things of giving yourself more time. That's been probably one of the most tangible and practical things, because I'm a time optimist, but time optimism with anxiety together is like stress. And so being able to be like, okay, we're gonna take an hour. We're gonna take an hour to go get out of the house. Yeah. And who knows, Noah's going to want to watch Bluey, and then I'm going to have my ADHD mom be like, that looks fun. And then, you do your best. And those little moments, finding joy in those little moments, where if you're in a rush and you're stressed out and your kid has this beautiful thing he's trying to share with you, but you're stressed and you're going to miss it. And if he wants to go and do X, Y, and Z, and I don't know, we ended up playing with watercolors last night, way too late. And actually comes down, it's like, good thing I love you both, but it's funny.
I want to throw one thing out about a project that Stephen and I did. I think it was one of the first things that we did together after we met at Young Entrepreneurs Business Week. And I was working with this nonprofit organization, and it was they had a Thursday night board meeting. And so I got a message Friday morning, and they said, we've changed the name of the organization, and by a week from today, we need a new logo, new branding, and a new website. And so I call up Stephen. I'm like, well, are you ready? and we did it, in fact, ahead of time. Got them. And it's the same stuff that they're using today. It was just hilarious that, you pull this stuff out and you say, hey, we need to do this. And so it was a fun thing.
There's a time and a place to be able to do that, and working in partnership is really helpful. There's definitely a time and a place to do that. We've gotten to a point that if we're in a situation like that, just because I have young kids now, and because my responsibilities at Oregon State are a lot more, we would probably say no, or maybe not in that situation. But if it's like if we looked at each other, it's like, okay, we can go do this for either for a good cause, or it's going to be a good ongoing business relationship. We can plant that seed right now. Yeah. And that was cool. We were able to make it happen because we have the capacity to do that. What's really hard is if you're always in that, whether it's with yourself or with the clients that you're working with, they're constantly behind and making weird decisions like that. That's where it can get really, really hard on your mental health. We've been really intentional. Even before COVID, we started being a lot more intentional about who we're working with, and really helping build our client base, and to be like, well, here's a couple of things that are going to be helpful, so you're not being reactive to everything. That's been really helpful. I'm not the best at planning whatsoever, but I am getting better at that, because being proactive about a couple of things is something that's really good for your mental health, and helps you take control and have that 10, 15 minutes here or there where you're like, oh, we're ahead of the game. We can take a half an hour to eat that 3 bites of that sandwich, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Not that happened yesterday. If you want authenticity, you got it with this guy right now. Don't profess to know many things. I'm just really excited about it. Doesn't matter what it is. I'll be very excited about it. And that's being excited. And again, I'm in good company with this. It's like, you do your best, you put your best foot out there, and you get excited. You encourage others through your excitement, and then that is contagious. You can set up a lot of environments, whether it is a classroom or a business meeting or whatever it is. Just be interested, try to focus the best you can, and if you are more proactive, it's going to give you that mind space to be like, okay, I don't necessarily want to talk about your landscaping business right now. I do want to build you a website. But if I'm thinking about all of these million things that I have to do at the same time because they're late, well, I don't think I'm going to be the best web developer out there. I'm not going to be the best speaker out there. And a lot of it is it's an ongoing journey. And I would definitely encourage anyone who struggles with constantly being behind, wake up early. Always, that's wake up early. I know that Russ is probably the person that wakes up the earliest of anyone maybe I've ever met. But if you start your day and at least look at, these are the things I have to do today, and then I'm going to give myself 20 minutes to think about the important but non-urgent things. 10 minutes, whatever it is. I wake up and I try to read the Bible, to pray, and then through that's like, okay, what are the non-urgent, but they're the really important things that I got to think about. And if the kids are already up, someone's screaming, or the sun's already up, or whatever it is, or there's emails coming in, turn off the notifications of your phone. Don't have them come on until, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is. And then really focus on that. And that will help your days really get into alignment, be like, okay. And then by the time that my day comes, my day's all the crap, but that doesn't happen at 6 o'clock in the morning. That normally happens at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm still able to be done by 5:30, and I'm still able to be with my family, fully engaged to the best of my ability. And then if there's stuff that still has to get done, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
and then get up early. As we say, we always talk about life and interesting stuff, and then and do some promotion. I joke with people and I say, they go, oh, the experience, what's that about? And I go, we have the most remarkable people on the planet come as guest hosts and guests, and we talk about life and interesting stuff, and they go, hey, Stephen, don't you have a blockbuster movie coming out this spring? Russ, can you roll the clip on that one? So with that, Stephen, what have you got coming up, and how can people get in contact with you and maybe support your nonprofit?
So with the nonprofit, we're going through kind of a continual rebranding. It's been a while. We're focused right here in the Willamette Valley. So if you are in the Willamette Valley, if you're an organization who's looking for technology, you can go to nerdsabroad.org and you can request technology. I can go find technology with you. And I do a lot of projects over the summer because I don't teach nearly as much. We have Oregon Business Academies coming up. So Scott, I should be seeing you, the YBW 2.0. I should be seeing you through that. If I haven't emailed you about that, my apologies, but I brought you up in many meetings, which is a lot of fun.
I did see a message about that, and I believe there's a camp coming up this summer that I can volunteer at Oregon State University, and I definitely want to put that on the calendar.
We have, I also became a board member of the Oregon Fire Service Museum and helped launch their capital campaign. So if you are particularly in the Salem area, just north of Salem, there's a place called Powerland Heritage Park, also known as Antique Powerland. And there's a bunch of, it's like 14 different museums that are there. And they're really going through a rebranding to try to get millennial parents, again, younger people involved with all of these wonderful museums that are there. And I became a board member of the Fire Museum there. We have a Father's Day event that's coming up that I'm helping plan, which is going to be spectacular. And we're doing a capital campaign to put some fire sprinklers in our new building because we're a fire museum. It probably makes sense for us to be able to do that. And then I just, if you want to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, there's my shameless plug. It's called the Bad Ideas Garage. It's not going to be good. It's going to be B+ because we're full of bad ideas. But I have daily shorts that go out and daily reels that are cross-posted to both of the platforms. So they're almost always exclusively like 10-second videos. And then I try to do, one longer form video once a month, depending on, what I'm able to do. But if you want some reasonable entertainment that is about car stuff, then that's my shameless plug. Those are the couple things I have going on between, mostly it's the Fire Museum and the YouTube channel. And then I'd be glad to connect with anyone over LinkedIn or Facebook or mail carrier pigeon, whatever makes you happy. I'm always glad to send you a singing telegram or whatever. And it looks like Russ is putting my information down there. All of that stuff. Just get in touch. I will send you encouraging messages back and forth. And hopping on the phone or on Zoom is pretty difficult at the moment with kids stuff. But if you want a lot of stuff with especially email messengers, I'm on it all the time, and I'm here to be a support. I'd love to hear about your crazy ideas. I love crazy ideas, and I will most likely put it through Chat GPT and write a limerick about it and then send it back to you with your encouragement.
That's the best use of Chat GPT I've heard. So write a limerick and share it out.
And that's a whole nother conversation, but I'm really obsessed with it right now. That I am, I created a series of monster trucks because I'm getting really good with the operators that go into it. And so I have these monster trucks, and every night we create a new monster truck with Noah, and then we put it into DALL-E, which is the Bing AI generator, and we generate a new monster truck image. And so now I have a whole series of these monster trucks, and we have our own series. It's wonderful. It's what I'm using it for. I'm sure that there's better ways to use it. But gosh darn it, we have a new monster truck series.
Well, there you have it. And Stephen, if you can hang out for a moment in the green room, the good doctor and I are going to wrap this one up. But what a pleasure to hang out with you this morning.
Thanks, everybody. Really, if you want to connect, and if we want some encouragement, all my contact information has been put here, wherever you are. And thanks again to both of you for having me here this morning. It was great.
Oh, it's been amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll catch you both later.
Wow. What a show. What a great time.
I can't believe how much this guy does. It's incredible. I was just listening and I was like, wow.
Isn't that fun?
Amazing.
Well, I want to go out with a little bit of a bang, just build up the tension and let everyone just say thank you to you, Dr. Nupi, for being a part of the show today.
Oh,
there we go. All right.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
It's just been fabulous. And as we wind up, tell the folks what is coming up for you, because I know you've got something special coming in just a few minutes.
I do. In about, what time is it? In about half an hour, even something like that. I am being featured as Inga's guest today at 4:30, which is GMT time, my time. And that's her last Wonder Woman Wednesday of the month for Women's International Day and all of that. What else have I got? Oh gosh, I've got so much at the minute. I'm doing. Oh, I've got a book coming out soon-ish, summertime, and a collaboration project I'm doing with Devin James, which is top secret, but it's. I have allowed him to say this, that it's a combination of F-listing and flow therapy, and that's all I'm going to say. What else? Course, I'm working on a course program for the F-list itself, and I just keep getting ideas all the time.
Oh, that's fabulous. Well, again, we're grateful that Russ and his family is able to take some time off, and although I know he's been watching from the side as well as they've been getting ready to go. So, but just fabulous. And so, Dr. Nupi Arora, thank you for joining us. The Glitter Practitioner. It's just so much fun. With that, I'm going to put the banner up here that we had. And it's just great to have Stephen and Dr. Nupi here on the experience. And with that, thank you to everybody for watching and commenting, and many blessings. Have a fabulous day. Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.